Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief, APGAINS here, and lots of people were asking me, APGAINS, you just released the greatest free-to-play farming guide of all time. That was all characters. What about the ships? I'll be honest, I don't make ship farming guides as often because there's no ship squads in the game, so it's harder for me to put stuff out in phases like I have with, my farming guide and stuff like that. But I will talk about ships since a lot of you guys asked. What is the order you should farm ships in? What ships are important? How do ships work? All that good stuff. You unlock fleets at level 60, and fleets are in a very important part of the early game because they're how you're going to make most of your crystals, because the squad arena is mostly dominated by people who spend lots of money, aka whales, and if you don't spend money, you're not going to be able to compete with any of those players. So, what can we do to kind of mitigate that pay-to-win aspect of the game? Well, it's gone down a little bit recently because they added a new capital ship, the Negotiator, which is basically unbeatable if, you don't have a really end-game fleet. So there's some ways we can get around it. The main way we're going to get around it in the first couple of months is going to be just basically getting carried by our Houndstooth and our ETA Starfighter. Houndstooth, best ship in the game, I still believe so. Which is why Relicking Bosk is so important. I just never did it because I'm a memer and I like to live life dangerously. Anakin's ETA Starfighter, I would say, before Executor, is probably the second best ship in the game, and for all of you people who don't plan on spending thousands of dollars on this game, probably the second best ship in the game. It's the reason why Anakin is so valuable relicking early and relicking at higher levels than other characters who don't deserve to be relicked at high levels. Simply because his ship is so vital to the Negotiator fleet. So when you're first starting off, you're going to want to farm Anakin's ETA Starfighter. You can farm it super early. It's like the first fleet node. 1B hard. So once you open fleets and start going through fleet battles, it's going to be there. You're going to want to farm it up to 7 stars as fast as possible. Same with your Anakin on the character side. So you can have a high damage dealing ship. The reason it's so important to get it up and powerful early, not only because of the Negotiator, but you're not going to have a Negotiator right away. So he has late game use, but in the early game, you're going to be facing Houndstooths who are very hard to kill. And an advantage of Anakin's ETA Starfighter is he can apply buff immunity on Houndstooth, so Houndstooth can't taunt and can't gain that protection up every time you hit him, making him hard to kill. We're also going to go for a Ahsoka Tano ship very early. Similarly, because she has direct counter to the Houndstooth, her middle ability allows her to dispel buffs and do damage, which is great for when he's taunting, to dispel the taunt, but also get rid of the protection up on the Houndstooth. So these are 3 ships you're going to want to have as soon as you start unlocking these nodes. Luckily, this is an easy farm. Ahsoka Tano's ship you can farm with Galactic War and Fleet Arena currency. I would only buy it in Galactic War. Don't waste your Fleet Arena store currency, and definitely never waste any of your your guild event store. That's what guild event tokens, I guess guild event store tokens, get one on our ship. Absolutely not. Those are only for General Skywalker and Malik. So those are the 3 ships that are going to be super powerful. And TIE Advance is going to be one that you're going to want to farm when he shows up, because you're going to have Vader as your first relic, and Zeta's going to be super powerful early, so he'll do a big damage. But it doesn't have a ton of synergy with any of the fleets you're going to use. Honorable mention, Plo Koon Starfighter. Plo Koon Starfighter requires this reinforcement to be super effective that dispels all debuffs from all allies. This does require, what do the tokens look like? It does require this stuff. I actually kind of need this. Let me just buy this real quick. It does require those things. So in the very early game, you might actually have to go through a couple of weeks, if not a couple of well, probably not a couple of months, but a couple of weeks where you have your Plo Koon and you don't have his great reinforcement, so he's not super useful. What about the dark side ships? There are Geonosian ships. The reason these guys are so great is not because they're all that powerful, it's that you can get them super easily because they're basically all farmed with fleet or galactic war currency and stuff like that. Again, don't spend any guild event tokens on Geonosians. But all 3 Geonosian ships, as well as the characters required to actually use these ships, pilot these ships, are very easy to get. So they usually end up being people's first ever fleet until they're quickly replaced by, a more powerful starting lineup over here. And then Umbarn is a character, or is a ship you're going to want to get up and running. You don't need to bring 5s up super powerful. Most people have a really, really strong 5s because he's great with the clone team. It's not as super effective, but in terms of fleet, it is super effective. I just gear 12 my 5s, so my Umbarn has been super weak this whole couple years that I've had this account. Excuse me. That I've had this account, and it hasn't really been that much of an issue. He also has anti-Houndstooth synergies. These 3 do, which is why they're so important. Is because when he has ability block, whatever it's called, not ability block, target lock. Surprised I've never upgraded these before. That's how much I pay attention to ships, even though my ships are pretty dominant. When he basics on a target lock, dispel all buffs on target enemies. This is great for getting around his taunt, but also doing some damage through his protection up that he gains. What are some other ships that you should theoretically start to get? If you can get, and this might be a tall ask, especially for early players, if you bought the Hyperdrive, you're going to be in a really good situation for this. But if you can get Houndstooth, Xanadu Blood, IG 2000, and Boba Fett's, I almost called it Boba Fett Starship, Slave 1, to 5 stars, you can unlock a 5-star Millennium Falcon. And Han's Millennium Falcon is amazing. Even at 5 stars, like, I have them relic even before I had this character. Like, this ship is so amazing. I'd say this is probably the 3rd best ship in the game. It's a Houndstooth ETA, then Han's Millennium Falcon. Obviously, the meta shipped at the very, very end game because, you know, basically Xanadu's Blood is now the best ship in the game or whatever because of Executor. But for reasonable asks for players who are going to be watching this guide, Han's Millennium Falcon is amazing because under Home 1, he assists every time a Rebel ally does anything. And every time he does his basic, he dispels all buffs, so also very hard counters to Houndstooth synergy, or very anti-Houndstooth synergy because he hard counters by dispelling all the protection. So if you're in the early game and you ever really have a question about how good a ship is, read through its kit and figure out how it would go against Houndstooth kit. Houndstooth is hard to kill. He taunts. Every time you attack him, he gains protection. I don't know where that's listed. It's not going to be there. It's going to be here, right? Houndstooth gains 25% protection up stacking for 2 turns whenever it takes damage from enemy's attack while not taunting. He has 50% tenacity. So basically anything that can counteract this wall as absolute behemoth of text right here is going to be a good early game ship. Now in terms of capital ships, I usually for the very early game run Home 1. You'll see a lot of people run Executrix or Chimera, especially if they're running Geonosian ships. I always find that strange. Home 1 is much better than both of them, even with no, like, he's like been level 80, like under geared for my entire time, and it's just such a better ship than the Chimera, the Executrix, that I always question. I get that people use it because, you know, they're using it with dark side ships, so they might think, but Home 1's just better. Home 1 you can call double mass assist, which is especially great if you have Geonosian ships because they do so much damage. You can heal and remove a bunch of debuffs. When he pops his special, you take a butt ton of turns. So yes, when you pop his special, someone dies, but the Chimera sucks. Yes, when you pop his special, there's a bunch of little ties that, you know, kamikaze themselves into you. But I just prefer Home 1. He's just so much better. He's going to be a little bit slower probably because you're going to like never gear up your Akbar, but you will go up your Executrix and your Chimera. But before you replace him, or before he's replaced by Negotiator, it's not really a problem. You're not really going to be going up against Relict Throns or Relict Moff Tarkins before you have your replacement capital ship in the best capital ship in the game, because we're not excluding Executor because it requires a butt ton of money, the Negotiator. Both of these ships, Malevolence and Negotiator, require guild event token number 2, aka get to. You're going to hear that term a lot to unlock. Negotiator is way better. Make sure you 7-star your Negotiator all the way before you start unlocking Malevolence. You're going to get some Malevolence shards because of a Galactic Chase. If you happen to like have 0 Malevolence shards and you end up getting whatever its 5 stars is, 180, I don't really know what it is. I can't even remember at this point. But, if you're in striking range and you have a bunch of Get 2 laying around, sure, you can grab a 5-star Malevolence, but that's a very, very rare case because the Galactic Chase is about to start. If you're watching this video anytime, like, later than, I don't know, 5 days after this came out, completely scratch that idea. You probably have no idea what a Galactic Chase is, but Negotiator is better in every single aspect of the game. His character is better to have early Relic and all that stuff, so Negotiator is going to be your bet. If we talk Executor, Executor is a great ship. His requirements are so steep, so if you're a person watching this video, you don't meet the requirements, and it will be years before you do. So by the time you get to a point where you can consider the Executor, you'll already know a lot more about the game, so you don't need to watch a basic ship farming guide for that stuff. So I've been APGAINS. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you found this helpful. We're trying to get 10,000 subscribers by the end. I said that really weird. Let me be more succinct and sound like I know how to have a grasp of the English language. We're trying to get 10,000, not 10,000. I'm not having a stroke or anything. 10,000 subscribers by the end of September. If we do, we'll eat the world's hottest chips while we're doing our Slave Leia cosplay live stream on Halloween. It should be pretty fun. So, as always, I love you guys, and I'll see you later.